Some stories don't begin with drama. They begin quietly, with the way you catch your breath around someone, with how you adjust your voice without noticing, with the tiny, almost invisible ways you try to be just right so love doesn't slip away. We have all done it, and not because we are weak, but because somewhere in our history we learned that love was safest when we shaped ourselves to fit it. And maybe you have felt this way too. That whisper of uncertainty, if I stop trying so hard, would love still stay? This episode is an invitation to explore that question gently, without judgment, and with the warmth of someone sitting beside you, not above you. There comes a moment in every relationship, sometimes quietly, almost unnoticed, when you realize you're no longer breathing in your own rhythm. Your laugh becomes something softer, your opinions something safer, your presence something smaller. And not because someone demanded it, but because you learned somewhere in life that connection must be maintained through effort, through performance, through being easy to love. And maybe you didn't even realize the shift. You thought it was a compromise, a maturity, being understanding. But often it's a survival wearing a romantic disguise. Here is the truth most people don't discover until they are exhausted. Love that requires performance is not love. Real connection gives you breath, not takes it away. It creates space for your whole being, your opinions, your humor, your sadness, your intensity, your gentleness, your contradictions. And here is something very few people know. Something tender, powerful and quietly liberating. Performing for love isn't a flaw. It's a survival pattern your body learned before you had words. Children don't just analyze their environment, they sense it. They adjust their tone, their needs, their presence to match the emotional climate around them. And not to be perfect, but to be safe. Your nervous system, loyal as it is, keeps those patterns long after the damage is gone. So when you shrink in relationships, when you soften yourself to avoid conflict, when you hold back so love doesn't leave, it isn't weakness. It's an old instinct trying to protect you. And most people avoid this truth because It feels too vulnerable, too honest, too close to something ancient inside them. You have built an identity around it. What is familiar is, however, not always safe. But the moment you see it, realize it, something inside softens. You stop fighting yourself, and that is where healing begins. Your body recognizes safe love long before your mind dares to admit it. Your shoulders loosen before you say, I trust you. Your breath deepens before you whisper, I feel safe. Your chest opens before you can say, I care. We cannot recognize externally what we cannot first generate internally. And that is why performing for love is so exhausting. Your body is working against itself, trying to hold up a version of you it believes in is most acceptable. Love without performing is not a skill you learn. It's a return to the version of you that existed before heartbreak taught you to shrink, before fear taught you to adapt, before someone else's expectations rewrote the way you showed up. And maybe a part of you wonders, if I stop performing, would anyone stay? But let me tell you this. When you stop performing, you don't lose love. You lose the wrong kind. The wrong people fall away like leaves from the autumn tree. And the right people step closely, slowly. And you step back into yourself. There is something a client once did that stayed with me. After I asked her this question, this powerful question, what would you be if there was no one to perform for? And at first she was taken back. And then she simply paused. The way you do when you are trying to think. The way you do when you are tired of trying. And something inside has softened at that moment. She imagined a version of herself that didn't have to work so hard to be loved. Not a fairy tale, not a romance, just a moment of ease. An exhale she forgot she could take. She described it like sinking into a warm blanket, the feeling of being held, truly held. A presence, not a person, but a gentle awareness that saw her without measuring her, without asking her to be better. She sinked into that feeling. Her shoulders dropped. Her jaw released. Her breath deepened. Her body remembered a truth. Her mind has been too busy to recall. She was allowed to exist without performing. And she held onto that feeling, letting it settle naturally without forcing anything. And I share this with you not as a technique, but as a reminder. Sometimes the smallest internal shift becomes the anchor for the version of you that no longer disappears for love. So, be patient with yourself. I'm here with you. Gently, quietly, as you take that step back into yourself.